What, on paper, should have failed, but ended up being a huge success instead? I read a story about a guy who bought 2 lottery tickets. The obvious strategy in this case would be to play 2 different sets of numbers between the 2 tickets. That would double your chances of winning. This guy played the same numbers on both tickets. It turned out that he had the winning numbers, and he owned 2 of the 3 winning tickets for that drawing. Therefore he won 2/3 of the jackpot instead of just 1/2. Yes, the math is described correctly. If he only bought 1 ticket instead of 2, then only 2 tickets would have been sold instead of 3. Therefore he would have won half. Happened in Adelaide, Australia. Powerball, husband and wife. One didn't know the other one has purchased their usual weekly ticket. They won. Nice. There were 3 Division 1 tickets winners. They received 2/3s of the winnings. How Cards Against Humanity charged more on Black Friday and sold even better. I still don't get it. They've also just straight up asked for cash with nothing in return and got $70,000 for it. They gave it to the staff and published what they bought with it. One of the staff bought a golden corn cob. The Potato Salad Project on Kickstarter. The little parasol in drinks. You know what this cocktail is missing? No. What's that, Jeff? A little paper umbrella. It would class this sucker right up. The VW Beetle was just right for post-war Germany, but America? Land of the chrome-plated V8 freeway cruiser? There's no way it should have become as popular as it did. But within a decade of its US introduction it was a bona fide cultural icon that was sold well into the 70s. Mexico's last production of the VW Beetle was in 2006, I believe. Brazil made the last edition VW bus in 2012 or 2013. People still want them and use them. Star Wars, the very first one. Pretty much every member of the cast had zero faith that it would amount to anything during production. Apparently everyone on set wanted Darth Vader's TIE fighter to explode at the end, bringing the whole story to a close. But Lucas went with the spinning off into space just in case the movie did well. When someone first told me about ebooks, they were pitching them as scanned-in copies of existing books that you could download to your computer and print out if you wanted to. This was 2007 and I told that person they were insane if they thought college students would give up the ability to highlight, note and save pages in physical books, not to mention reselling them. Yet, the Kindle and Nook and increased functionality of phones made me look dumb. While I like digital books, generally I still prefer physical, easier to highlight. That said, I've been renting my college books because it's cheaper, and I can't mark them up, so I'm on the same boat as you, lol. Wikipedia. Anyone online can edit this. It's going to be a trash heap. Instead, it's become the most successful tool for middle school homework. Middle school homework. Heck, it helped me out on some of my degree projects. Snapchat. When someone first explained the concept, I thought, can't you already freaking send a picture and video through text? Titties though. Freemium games. You're paying money to not play them as much. I don't actually hate freemium games or think they're unethical. I just think that, on paper, the model sounds like it wouldn't work, you know, as per ARP's question. Honestly, I've never heard it summed up as good as this. It's so true. Instead of grinding, you pay, then you reach endgame, and realize it's boring. You quit, poorer and not satisfied. Ticketmaster. Nobody's going to pay a 100% service charge and a convenience fee. Turns out plenty of people didn't do. Potato Mail. Seriously, the guy who launched the original company asked his family and friends for loans to get it started. None gave him any. Now he's worth millions. Cause people like sending potatoes through the post with a message written on them. Because it's freaking stupid and people love stupid things. They make us laugh and forget about the darkness of reality. The channel. Before it was built, many said it would never succeed, yet they were proven wrong. The Channel Tunnel, a 50.5km rail tunnel, linking Folkestone, Kent, in the UK with Coquelles, Pas-de-Calais, near Calais in northern France, beneath the English Channel at the Strait of Dover. I remember watching the workers shake hands through the breach in the final feet of tunnel on the news and all the stuff about the drilling machines they used. It's an impressive engineering featuring. Federal Express. Fred Smith actually submitted the concept as a college term paper and got a D on it. He decided to prove the professor was wrong. FedEx was the most highly financed company at the time. Some random professor may have not believed in it, but basically every venture capitalist saw it as a great idea on paper. Pet rocks. Not surprising it looks bad on paper though. Everybody knows paper defeats rock. You know, that guy made $1 million. A Supreme Box logo hoodie. They are just a plain hoodie with a rectangle in the middle saying Supreme, and they are currently reselling for $300-400. Hamilton. Really? A hip-hop musical about the first Treasury Secretary of the United States, with a song about state debts? It'll open and close the same night. Springtime for Hitler. A gay romp with Eva and Adolf at Berchtesgaden. Crocs. Hey, let's make foam shoes with holes all over them. They make great field and or shower shoes for service members. Source. Had Crocs for when I went to the field. A relatively unknown director filming 3 movies at once on a total budget of less than $300 million, using new technology and practical effects to simulate a huge immersive fantasy world, in a country and with a special effects studio not yet known for successful Hollywood filmmaking. On paper it sounds like a train wreck waiting to happen and some edgy kid director's idea of making a splash on the Hollywood scene. Back-to-back filming has had mixed success. And I am not including films that were later split in 2, for pretty obvious reasons. Filming one film successfully requires a lot of tight organization, cohesion, and a good team. 2 simultaneous films makes that job 3 times harder because not only do you need double the organization, cohesion, and a larger team, which makes the former 2 more difficult, but you need to bridge that quality between the 2 films. 3 films was never done until Lord of the Rings. Whoa, I really didn't believe you, but you're right. That was the first film I've heard of that he was connected with. Even more amazing is off the back of the first LOTR he went into overdrive and got involved with an awful lot more than just shooting 3 films back to back. Chia Pets. I still don't understand why they got popular. The commercials were too good. CHCHCH Chia. James Cameron's Titanic. At the time, the fact that this, a movie not based on an existing property, a downer of a story and one that by nature couldn't have a sequel, was the most expensive film of all time was insane to people. Prior to release, everyone was ready for it to fail miserably or, at best, barely make its money back. The media, the studio, and even James Cameron, as he gave up his salary and percentage points during production, although he was still handsomely compensated in the end. No one expected it to print money the way it did. 12 years later, Avatar defied the odds to a lesser extent. No one expected it to eventually make more than $2.50 billion worldwide. But by then people knew not to bet against Cameron. Titanic's astronomical success through repeat business just blindsided people. Now I'm hearing the only reason he even produced Titanic was so he could dive to the wreckage and send the bill to a movie studio. Airbnb. You have to trust strangers in your house while you're gone. My good friend had her house completely ransacked from the first time she had guests through Airbnb. They even took towels. Leicester City's 2015/2016 Premier League campaign, followed by their 2016/2017 Champions League campaign. They're still going. Going not so strong in Premier League though. Leather wrapped rock for $85. Sold out completely from Nordstrom. Bottled water, in places with clean running water already. The Lego Movie. Sounds like a 90-minute long cynical toy commercial, right? In reality it was a genuinely fantastic film, and everyone was really disappointed that it didn't win an Oscar. Made by Lord and Miller, the same guys who made 21 Jump Street, another movie that should not have worked. I'm saying this as a really big fan. Eddie Izzard's career. Firstly, he was in his mid-30s when he really made it as a stand-up comedian in the UK, not some young kid riffing on how annoying their dad is or bad drinking stories. Instead of just going for the money like a lot of big comedy players do, going through the same jokes again and again, He's toured literally everywhere in the globe. His last tour he did shows in 28 different countries, including a complete tour of the United States and Europe, and he did it in English, French, German. His humor is of an intellectual bent, in this day and age. Avoiding any cliched subjects, instead talking about lots of subjects from history, science, religion, and a lot of the time he'll put bits in his shows in other languages to applause and standing ovations, playing everything from little clubs to stadiums. He's 56 now. He's acted on stage, film and TV, ran 27 marathons in 27 days earlier this year, and is planning to run for mayor of London in 2020. Oh yeah, and he's a transvestite. Now I don't know about the rest of the world, but this guy just completely went out there, in utter confidence, and it could have crashed and burned so badly. Were people ready for an out and open transvestite? Obviously we think so now. But just at the beginning of Eddie's career there wasn't a huge amount of famous transvestites who you could point to and say that they did alright. Everything about this guy sounds made up and like it would never work. Executive transvestite. The American Revolution. Minecraft. It has an art style that lots of people find pretty rough. It is very light in gameplay, focusing more on creative aspects. It isn't on Steam. It doesn't do discounts, and actually gradually raised its price. It is written in Java with all the baggage that goes along with it. Notch took quite a lot of time off during development. Not that there is anything wrong with that, but it just goes against the narrative. If any other game dev were to emulate Minecraft, they'd fail badly, and yet, Minecraft is among the most successful games ever made. Minecraft was much more appealing in the earlier stages. Completely broken game. The community was small and dev communication felt genuine. Still though, much more successful than I had ever dreamed it would be. I bought the game while it was still in alpha and wasted many an hour on that game. Kingdom Hearts. Disney and Final Fantasy equals something not terrible. I never saw the appeal, but I guess others like it. The Caesar. What can we add to this vodka to make it more appealing? How about we mix in hot sauce, salt, pepper and Worcestershire sauce, then top it up with some clam flavored tomato juice. Don't forget to rim the glass with celery salt, and add a stalk of celery for good measure. It's completely ridiculous. I don't know who thought to even try that, or how it caught on. You know British Dave, I really want a salad, but I also really want soup. I also really want to get fricked up. Whatever, I'll just blend all that crap together. Bloody Mary. Donald Trump presidential run. I think his stunning victory may have even surprised himself. His presidential campaign is gonna be studied by academics and strategists for a long time. David S. Pumpkins. I'm all in on David S. Pumpkins. Twitter being a thing still shocks me. The MCU shared universe. I can't imagine how anyone managed to pitch this. B-level characters. Movies with A-level Marvel characters were very hit and miss. Initial solo movies that are largely just setups. Gambling that these all but prequels get enough attention to make it to the Avengers. The increasing necessity to juggle a huge cast which only grows over time. A basically bland aesthetic. A talking raccoon. Well, to be fair, the last one is pretty easy to pitch. I thought Facebook sounded ridiculous when I first heard of it. I didn't think enough people would be egotistical enough to put hundreds of photos of themselves online, and that no one would want to see them. I was wrong. Plus we already had Friendster, MySpace and LiveJournal. Seemed like the market was already tapped at that point. Equivalent would have been Zune magically vanquishing the iPod. I was always amused by the statement that the F-15 proved you could make a brick fly if you put a big enough engine on it. F-15 is a great plane along with the BBBBRRRT jet. A-10. A modest proposal. General, someone built this giant gun and we need a way to move it so we can shoot people with it. Some PVT. Let's put some wings on it and fly it to the front lines. General, there's no way that would work. BBBRRRRRRRTTTT. General. Tesla survived despite being days away from bankruptcy multiple times, was late on their release of their first models, had to keep asking investors to re-up, and were trying to bring an all-electric luxury car to the market in the midst of the USA's worst recession since the Depression. The Muppet Show, the original. Okay, we take a bunch of puppets from a kid's show and put it on prime time. The only premise is a hapless green frog host who has no control of the show. Multiple random Muppets every single episode with some recurring characters. Seemingly complete chaos on every single show. Somehow they made it work. Truly a great achievement. Disclaimer. I was not there to witness it when it first came on TV. I only watched it years later. It still cracks me up to this day. The roller coaster of emotions that come when I watch the old shows is unlike any other show I have ever watched. Humor tears. Feeling so many feelings. Zootopia. Let's make a movie that takes a serious look at modern race relations. Throw in some talking animals and market it to kids. And the funniest scene will involve a sloth slowly laughing at a joke. Bob Dylan's career as a singer, songwriter, sure, but singer? Baseball. Essentially you have 7 guys standing around a grassy knoll watching one guy flail away at curving balls. Every so often he'll hit it, but usually it's foul. You're left with a few minutes of action spread out over 3 hours while the vast majority of the game is just waiting for your turn to bat or maybe catch a ball. The first games were decided by the first team to score 75 runs. Pitching wasn't much of an art at the beginning. Springtime for Hitler. Aunt Germany. Brexit. And the sequel, Brexit 2, the Trump ironing. And coming in 2017, Brexit 3, Le Pigpen. Texting. I distinctly remember thinking it was the stupidest thing ever. Why not just call someone? I used to say, this was back when you paid by the text and had to use the number keys. Mind you. Still, I never would have imagined how much I communicate with text now. Me hitting on that girl a couple of weeks ago. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.